There were 703 votes cast. Needed for election are 469. Reverend Brian Moss, 319. Reverend Kathy Gerke, 188. Reverend Mark Rorud, 63. Reverend Steve Berkey, 60. Reverend Ron Drury, 26. Reverend Damon Laker, 21. Reverend Greg Berger, 21. There is not an election, so we will go to engaging the three pastors who remain in a time of conversation or presentation. You invite Pastor Brian Moss to address.
God bless you for the boldness and faith you all have in making these choices that so many of you have said you have so little information on which to base. I get that. I do too. And a lot of you have asked questions in the hallways, and most of you, between me and the coffee, have not appreciated that. But the questions have fallen really into three categories, and it's only fair that I answer them. You've asked me, what's your background? Where are you from? Really? What are you about? You've asked me, how are you wired? You've asked me, what is your vision? It brought to mind that first question. My first call just came in Nebraska. The call committee sent a letter of introduction to the whole congregation that said, Mr. Moss is a graduate of Yale Divinity School, but he grew up on a farm near Pierce, Nebraska. The subtext being, of course, that his education is suspect, but he's one of us. And I do not say that to pander to you. I'm not looking for votes. Just to be honest with you about who I am, it's been 25 years since I've cut hogs or walked beans or thrown dales. Some of that I don't think they even do anymore. You've asked me how I'm wired. I have to tell you, I'm so grateful for what Phyllis Tickle brought to us, the gift of her insight. That whole metaphor of Jerusalem and Antioch, the church we've been in Jerusalem and the church we're called to be in Antioch. I was raised in Jerusalem. I love Jerusalem. I know why the temple is in Jerusalem. But I know that Christ is ahead of us in Antioch, beckoning to come and be there as well. And I have to confess that because that's my orientation, every time I go to Antioch, I get lost. And I'm a man, and I don't like to ask for directions. But if I'm humble enough to acknowledge I'm lost and to ask for those directions, I will hear them from the people of Christ who are there. And I have learned that whether I ask for directions or not, there is much that is the same. Water and human behavior tend to run downhill in both places. The sun rises in the east every day, and resurrection always trumps death. But we who live in Jerusalem have to confess that for too often, as Jesus called us to be his witnesses from Jerusalem to the ends of the earth, we have let the ends of the earth be the suburbs of Jerusalem, the ends of our parking lots. Bishop DeFries's gift of leadership in the last 12 years has been to push us beyond those parking lots into the Antiochs beyond. At the same time, we have to be honest enough, candid enough, and loving enough with one another to say to those of us oriented in Antioch, you are in danger, we are in danger of not knowing where the ends of the earth are because we've forgotten where we come from. In Jerusalem, we need each other. Humility, love, and Christ's command call us to be aware of needing each other. So what then is my vision? I don't have one big enough. We don't have one big enough for the ELCA and the Nebraska Synod. Only God has a vision big enough for all of us. Only all of us praying, talking, and listening together can discern that vision. But I know that to that vision, I bring a conviction in every cell of my being that the evangelical Lutheran Church in America has the richest treasures in all of Christianity to give to a world that desperately needs those treasures. The Nebraska Synod is among the strongest of the ministries of the ELCA. Christ does that through you, thanks be to God. We have abundant resources, especially our people. The agencies, the ministries, the organizations and auxiliaries we have, there is yet more to do. We need to continue to learn to tell the story of what it means to be a people rooted in baptismal grace, called by God to vocations each of us to live out in the world. To take to the world a word of God that lives, that isn't just dead ink on paper, but is the very presence of God. To take to the world the gift of worship
by them.